Hope you're having an amazing, okay. I hope you're having an absolutely amazing day. Whew, it is Monday. Y'all know Monday is literally like one of my favorite days of the week. And today is no exception. There is so much going on in the world of recruitment and staffing. I like to get excited about those things. And I hope you guys are in the place today where you're getting excited about what's going on in the world of recruitment and staffing. And so I'm gonna do, follow-ups and hold on. I'm gonna chime in a moment and talk about all of the announcements that we have going on and so forth. But before I do so, I promised each and every one of you last week that I would continue to give you the replay of what I experienced last week with Tony Robbins. Hey Lori, it's good to see you. And I definitely want to do that. I hope you guys are having an absolutely amazing Monday. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the 30-day Blitz Challenge, which is about to go down this week. And I'm excited about that. And then we're also going to talk about the Mastermind Sales Class. I'm excited about that. Which starts this week as well. This is a holiday, so some people are kind of traveling, and I get it. But we're coming back strong on Wednesday. We have Q&A on Wednesday. It's just a lot of amazing things going. But before I do that, I really want to take a moment and to welcome everybody that's here, and then to talk about what Tony Robbins talked about. Hey, Henry, and all those great things. I will be in New York City in 2 weeks, the week after, I think the week of the 20th, 18th, 19th, that week. So I will be in New York that week, and that is confirmed. Okay. So a few of the things that were also talked about that I want to kind of go into, things that were said. This was before Tony Robbins. This was another gentleman that was there speaking. And his name was Dr. Dennis Cummings. And Henry said yes about New York. I know he's excited. He says, most people want change, but don't want the action to move forward. And I agree with that. I think sometimes people, they're excited about the change, but when it comes to actually being tenacious and doing and putting in the work and putting in the activity to make things happen, it's like, they allow their fears or their habits or whatever to keep them from moving forward. And so that really resonated with me. Another thing that this doctor said is you really want to put yourself in the presence of wiser people with more experience. I know we've heard all the time. He talked a lot about taking responsibility for your life. And we talked about that from the last conference I went to, where we created the $2, that's a $2 statement jar, right? This is not $2. These are all of Lyric's $2 statements. I think I gotta put some change in here too. But $2 statements are, instead of taking responsibility for something, you either blame something or someone else, or you try to find a way to justify it, or literally you are complaining about it. And so here now, when we do those things, we say, oh, that's a $2 statement. You put it in the $2 statement jar. And it kind of helps remind you to stay accountable for the things that you're doing. An affirmation that was stated that we should repeat every day, all day, as often as possible. I create the exact amount of financial success that I desire. I thought that was a great affirmation. I create the exact amount of financial success that I desire. Mediocrity is a pain in the ass. Mediocre people don't take risks, and they base all of their actions on fear. Being miserable, unhappy, living in their comfort zone. He talked a lot about that, and I agree with that as well. Another affirmation, there's always more out here for me. He talked, a lot of the people during the conference talked a lot about taking advantage of the training resources that are out there, instead of saying, I don't know how to do this. Like, literally being open and willing to learn something new is is imperative. That he asked what holds people back. He asked about that, and most people say that they don't know if they can do it. They were like, he had people stand up. Like, what's holding you back from achieving your dreams? If it's, you know, if you don't believe you can do it, stand up. And people like stood up. And I was like, wow, that's very interesting. Because, you know, for me, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to figure out how to do it or hire somebody, right? But people really don't do things because they don't know how to do it. And so he asked the question. He said, no, stand up if you don't do it. You know, you stand up and do it if you don't have the knowledge, which is the same thing, but a whole different group of people stood up. So it was even perception. So I thought that was really cool. Hey, Virgil, I see you're here. He said to create a declaration. I am bigger than my problem. Nothing will stop me from creating wealth, especially me. And so that's something I'll probably write on my wall. I thought that was really cool. And he had us to say it out loud. I am bigger than my problem. Nothing will stop me from creating wealth, especially me. I thought that was a great one. Let's see. He said that's something that holds people back, fear and worrying about what potentially will happen, but it's not even happening just yet. He says people become paralyzed because they want to make sure everything is going to be right, and then they never move forward. And I think a lot of us do that, right? It's like, oh, you got to wait till it's perfect. And I'm a prime example. I'm going to just tell on myself, but and I'm going to take responsibility and not justify. Like staffing startup.tv. I have my interviews, I have everything, but I have this thing in my mind. It has to be perfect. It has to be right. And because of that, I haven't moved forward. So that's confession. And that's exactly what he talked about. People become paralyzed because they want to make sure everything is absolutely perfect, and then they don't move forward. He said it's time to giddy up. That was the term he used. It's time to giddy up. They talked a lot about leverage, investing your money to make money. So when you make money into your business, invest it back into your business in some form of product or service that will make money for you again and again and again and again and again and again. Right. So I thought that was definitely important. He says, I act in spite of fear. This was another declaration. I act in spite of fear, in spite of discomfort, and in spite of anything. So I'll repeat that again. I act in spite of fear, in spite of discomfort, in spite of everything or anything. What determines how well you do depends on the types of relationships that you have with people. He also stated that. He said success is an inside job. And I've got to tell you this because there was a time in the presentation, it was so powerful. I mean, it was not a dry eye in the house, but Tony Robbins was talking about money and wealth. And he was saying a lot of you have come to this conference because for sales, business development, like you want to grow your business. Many of you have the desire to become super wealthy, and all of that is great. But business is so much more, and you doing this is so much more. Same thing I always tell you guys, but he really like put it into perspective. He said, I want you to do me a favor. He said, it's about 5,000 people in this room. Everybody who loved this guy, I want you to stand up. And he had a picture of Robin Williams. And like the majority of the room stood up. And he was like, okay, so now for the people who, he actually called them like fuck faces, excuse my French, but that's what he said. For the people who didn't like Robin Williams, he said, you see, it's only a small percentage. He said, everywhere I go across the world, everywhere I go, when I ask this question, at least 90% of the room stands up when I ask about Robin Williams. He said, let me tell you a little bit about Robin Williams. He said, Robin Williams decided one day that he wanted to be on TV, and he did it. He achieved it. He decided he wanted his own show, and he achieved it. He decided that he wanted to be the world's most funniest guy and then do movies, and he achieved it. He decided that he not only wanted to do movies, but he wanted to win a Grammy or an Academy Award, but not for something funny, but for a drama. And he did it. He decided, so he started going down this list of all the things that Robin Williams achieved and how Robin Williams was this tenacious guy who all the time was going after his goals, just going, and achieving them and excited about them, except he fucking murdered himself. That was what he said. And he said he did it because he didn't feel loved. And everywhere I go, 90% of the room stands up and said they love this guy. And he says, so it doesn't matter how much money, how much wealth you have, how many materialistic things you have, how many goals you achieve, the excitement of achieving that goal, that financial goal, that placement, it only lasts for a couple of seconds and then you're ready to your next goal. But if you're not internally on the inside, if you're not internally, healing yourself on the inside, loving yourself on the inside, then all those things don't matter. And it was like everyone was crying. Even men were crying, because you do kind of go for this, like, oh, I want to be a millionaire, I want to be a billionaire, I want to do this or whatever. And then you got all these other things going on personally, and you're not really talking about those things or really handling those things. And then next thing you know, you have all the things on the outside, but you're still really broken on the inside. And I think that's what he was kind of saying about Robin Williams. And we would have never known that, because we see all the great accomplishments that are made on the outside, never realizing we're not dealing with the inside. He says, so when you're in business, don't make it all about the money, because I'm telling you right now, and this was just very consistent across the board, you don't change when you get the money. You just have rich people problems. And yes, rich people problems sometimes are better than poor people problems, but you still have those problems. So you've got to create that happiness on the inside of yourself first, so that, or while you're doing it, so that as all the things that you desire comes, then you're still feeling good on the inside. So whether you lose those things or whether you gain those things, you're still in an amazing space, if that makes sense. So I thought that was super duper powerful. It made me think about Robin Williams. And I really came home and showed my daughter, like, let me show you Mork and Mindy. Let me show you where Robin Williams started, and what I used to do as a little girl and watch Mork and Mindy. Pam said, hi, Dee. Hey, Pam. She said, yes, love that. No, Dee, I've learned from you to let some things go. You do model, move on, and you may not see it, but I noticed in you and learning from you how I see you move on without perfection, but with good enough to be highly effective. Yes. But I do have to get better, Pam. I'm still growing. That's why I do these things, because I'm still growing as well. Really quickly, and then I've got to try to get some lunch before my next meeting. He says, oh, one of the guys that was there talking, and this is so interesting. He said, do not use the term ebook. And I was trying to look for this last night for someone else. He said, don't use the term ebook. He said, it sounds cheap. He said, do the free downloadable version of your book. That's what he says, or the downloadable version of your book. He says, don't use ebook because it sounds cheap. So that's good to know. And I'm saying that out loud for everyone as we use that. Tony, okay. He says, information without emotion is rarely retained. He said, so we're going to change somewhat of our learning style here in the Academy. I learned a lot, and I want to do it like aggressively, but Lyric was really on the mark when she was like, I want to do something different with the Q&A call. So we're going to start this Wednesday and just like do a test and see how it works out. And if you guys like it, we'll keep the model. If you say, boo, it sucks, then we'll can it and try something new. But he said, information without emotion is rarely retained. And, just giving an example of the example that he used about Robin Williams, that touched every last one of us. That was one of the stories that I never forgot, and the lessons that stayed with me, based on this conversation. And so it's very interesting when you are emotionally attached to something, you tend to keep on to that information a little more aggressively, which is really different from what they teach in school. But he was talking about that. He says, you can change your life instantly, a moment's decision. And he's also talked about changing your vibrations. Like you're in a bad mood, you can switch it up immediately. You don't have to stay in that funk. And I try my best not to stay in a funk when I'm frustrated or irritated. I try to find ways to think of things that are very positive, because I know the higher my vibration, the easier things that I want and need to come to me, it will flow to me. And that's just basic, universal laws. So when you're cranky and irritable and grouchy, or if you're doubtful or fearful, you're really rejecting all the things that you desire and want to come to you. Whereas when you're excited, you're happy, you're hopeful, you're confident, you've got ease going on with you, then things start to just kind of magnetize themselves towards you, because you're in an open space to receive those things. So, there's this book, I hope you guys don't mind me sharing with you. It's this book, I'm always sharing a book, right? I know. This book is called Levels of Energy. It's by this guy called Frederick Dodson. It's a pretty thick book. I have the audio version as well. But even though it's a thick book, if you look, like the text in the pages are kind of little, so it's not so aggressive. But I'm going to tell you, this book really changed my perception, my perspective about energy. I already had kind of this idea and this feeling around how energy works as far as our feelings and emotions and different things like that. But when I read this book, it really broke it down very extensively about the different levels of energy and how they are on this scale. When people think of, like, heaven and hell is from a metaphysical perspective, it's more around your feelings and your mentality and different things like that. And so he talks about this scale. So it's really cool. But anyway, Tony Robbins and everyone at this conference really talked about that, not necessarily in the way that Frederick Dodson did, but they just talked about how you attract things to you when you're on that higher vibrational scale, and when you're on that lower one of fear, doubt, unsurety, or what have you, that you're really rejecting things and you don't even realize it. But that's good, because you're learning, you're shifting. But the point is, you have the power to attract things to you, just like you have the power to repel things, against you, just with shifting how you think and how you feel in that moment. He also talked about being mediocre as well. He says, good is the enemy of great. When you say it's good enough, or I'm good enough, or that's good enough, it's not great. So it's the enemy. So being mediocre is unacceptable. Tony says the most important thing in love and business is energy. You're not going, you're not going to be able to grow your business without it. So his whole platform was like, what type of energy are you projecting? Which I think is so enlightening, because, like, literally when you're in recruiting and staffing, that energy really, comes out. Think about it in the way you answer the phone, right? Hi, my name is Dee Williams. I'm with Identifies Consulting. Pretty standard. Hey, my name is Dee Williams. I'm with Identifies Consulting. How are you today? Really upbeat. And it's going to give you a totally different response based on how, that energy is being projected. So I totally get that. It'll move you forward. The higher your energy, the more forward moving you'll go. He says charisma is energy. Let me just see. Second level mastery is about mastering your emotions. Belief is a poor substitute for experience. You've got to go out and experience it. Don't just say, like, I believe it. This was interesting. There's a billionaire created in the US every day, and in China every 6 days. Did you guys know that? So every day in the US, somebody becomes a billionaire every day. So that means that at least 365 days out of the year, someone is becoming a billionaire. My question is it when is it going to be you? Is it going to be me? Or, that's pretty cool. And every 6 days it's in China, he says. Create who you want to become, construct and train yourself. He said you can't sit around wondering why things didn't happen yet. You've got to go out and just start moving. Just move towards your goal and things will come into place. He says the only purpose of pain is to get us to transform into who and what we desire to be and want. He talked a lot about how the culture's changed over the last 25 years, which Gary Vee did as well. He says, if I want what I deserve, then I have to take 100% responsibility, generating ideas and concepts that will change the world far better. That gets me so excited, because that's what being a staffingpreneur is about. That's what being an entrepreneur is about. I believe today in 2017, 2018, 2019 is creating businesses that are going to ultimately impact society. It's not just about what you can get from the business, but how is it helping to move society forward? So, you'll see me talk a lot about unleashing your ideas. I'm on that mission. I've never stopped. So we're about generating ideas and concepts that will change the world for the better. Whatever you focus on is based on how you feel. Oh, he talked a lot about knowing who your ideal customer is. You must know who your ideal customer is. So for everyone who did the $1 Million Playbook, you guys should have a way better understanding of who your customer is. Tony, everybody at that conference was like diving in aggressively to like, know your market, know your market, know your market, know your market, know your market. You should not be doing business if you don't know your market. He says, fall in love with your customer, not your product or service. And y'all know I love y'all, right? And so that's what he talked about. He said you should fall in love with your customer, not your product or service. And many people, we fall in love with our products and services and try to sell that versus the idea of falling in love with the customer that we are trying to provide our service for. And when you guys get a chance, you'll see in the academy, in the orientation section, I started filling the videos in. And so there are new videos that have been added to Staffingpreneurs Academy. And then Lyric is going in right now and putting in the training dates for some of the videos that have not been completed. She's putting in the live training dates now, so that as I start training, as I start recording those videos, if you guys want to join in for the training live, you can do so. So go into the academy and look for those things. And so anyway, so in the orientation, I was kind of going through and was talking about, all the benefits that you provide to a potential client and a potential candidate. And there's like 2 separate slides. It's like, because I've heard a number of staffingpreneurs say, I can't sell the business because I don't really know what I provide. And it's like, so I went in and created these videos and said, okay, you provide this, and with all of these bullet points. And I really honed in on how you're providing your customer with leverage and really focused on the benefit that you're providing them. So take a look at that video when you guys get a chance. It is in the orientation section. You will find it very, very, very valuable. Lyric is updating the rest of the videos today. She's going to be a little genius by the time I get done with her. He talked about how if we're not open to the things that are happening around the internet and technology, then we're going to be left behind. He said, there's this new technology. It's called, I think, CRISPR. I don't know what it's called, but it allows you to edit your genes. So you can basically create your next child and say, I want this gene. I don't want that gene. Pull that gene out. And he said if they've already successfully implemented it on animals, and that within the next 5 years, we'll be able to implement it on people. So like understanding that technology is moving so aggressively and you've got to be on top of it as often as possible. And it's so interesting. He was talking about that because I'm listening to this audio book right now when I drive, and I'm going to open it up for you so you can see it. But it's called Deep Thinking, where machine intelligence ends and human creativity begins. And man, it is just like, they talk about like chess and like how chess is like this mind game, but they really talk about how human players are, they're talking about artificial intelligence, basically, and how it started out kind of in the world of chess, Bobby Fischer, and this guy, Gary Kasparov, he's a Russian guy. and it's another guy here. They all kind of like were playing against computers, and that's kind of how IBM Watson evolved over time. It's like, so all of this dealt around human intelligence, and they're basically telling you like all the things that are going to take place, all the jobs that are going to go away. This really is a book for recruiters, to be honest with you, and for staffingpreneurs. So they talk about all the jobs that are going away, all the jobs that have gone away, and what has replaced them, and what will replace these jobs in the future, and how we can tap into that. So the audiobook is 9 hours, but I've listened to 2 hours and it went by way too fast. I couldn't take enough notes. My brain was going crazy. It was like shots being fired. Excellent book. I'm going to see, I don't know if you guys can see what it looks like right there. Deep Thinking, if you guys can catch that, and I'll go back and put the link in. But a really, really, really great book. Yeah, I'm going to say it again. It's Deep Thinking, Where Machine Intelligence Ends and Human Creativity Begins. Deep Thinking, Where Machine Intelligence Ends and Human Creativity Begins. And it's by Gary Kasparov, Kasparov. He talks about, he's also the author of a book called How Life Imitates Success. Really, really awesomeness. So they talked about that. He also talked about how 3D printing is going to shift this is Tony Robbins now. He's talking about how not just the gene altering technology, but how 3D printing is about to take over, and how nanotechnology is about to take over, and solar energy is about to take over. And so like, we've got to start thinking about how we can utilize that, because we're all thinking niches that are current for today, which I think is great. But as we change, as the world change, like, let's understand how to get this process down, get a good system going, and then duplicate this system in one of these industries that are forthcoming, so that we can become the leaders in recruiting and staffing in that space, if that makes that sense, right? So in nanotechnology, 3D printing, gene alteration or whatever, like, let's figure out what that looks like and start tapping into other things. Also, bigger question, he says, what type of relationship does your customers have with your niche market? So it's like, that's what we did in the playbook when we were sending out the flycatchers. So I was like very excited, because a lot of the things he talked about, I'm already teaching you guys and showing you how to implement those things. So I felt like a proud coach, but it was great to hear it from someone who has achieved a success of over $480 billion. I think his net worth, or million or billion. I don't know. This guy's super rich, right? And he said he runs 32 companies, Tony Robbins said, all over the world globally. I think he said he employs over 12,000 people. All right. And so he successfully has done this, right? And not to say that I haven't, but not at his level. And so to hear him talk about the things that I'm constantly doing and that I'm constantly teaching you guys was super rewarding for me. So what type of relationship do your customers have with your niche market? So get your flycatchers out, aggressively use your flycatchers. Find out how they feel about your niche market. What do they love? What do they hate? What do they need? What do they desire? What's irritating them? What makes them ecstatic? It's your job to find out what your customers' relationships are with that specific niche market and with the recruiting and staffing market, so you'll be able to position yourself in a way that they feel open to come to you. They want to come to you. They're excited about coming to you. They desire for you to be in their space. You are, in fact, a true partner to them. Then when you get to that place, there is no other staffing agency. And again, I talk about this really aggressively in the orientation section and the academy. There is no other agency. You are the agency, right, that they want to work with, because you understand them from a totally different perspective. Even if that means that you change maybe you decide that staffing is no longer a name that you want to use because the connotation that goes along with it doesn't feel good. So you want to say that you are a people provider. That's fine. But when you understand your market, you understand what they're into and how they feel about things, even down to jargon and terminology, you'll be able to understand how to position yourself better. We talked a couple of months ago that there was a survey they went out in the staffing industry analyst space, and they talked about how temps hate being called temps. They hate that, right? They want to be called contractors. They do not like being called temps. They don't like the word temp assignment. They don't like the term temp, yet most people still call them temps. Well, if it makes them uncomfortable, change the name. If that's going to bring more people in and give them a better feeling as they're working on these opportunities. So knowing your market will allow you to create to create leverage for your business that other companies and businesses just do not have. And this will be something that you will thank yourself, Tony, me, whoever for, right? So just want to throw that out there. Pam said, my colleague is listening in and getting excited hearing this. I'm sending her to Identifies Consulting so she can see. Thank you so much. She said, my coworker is listening and yesing everything I'm sending her. I love that. Hey, Sharonda, how are you? Okay, so that was like the core of the conference. I'm actually going back to Walk on Fire and to experience his it's like a higher end business course. And then from there, I'm going to go to his business mastery course. And then I'm going to another business school 10-day event in Cancun in November. So I really want to step my game up. I'm really looking to scale my brand, just for anybody who is, so you'll know kind of what my agenda is right now. So I want to grow my academy members for people who aren't interested in staffing at all, and they just want to figure out how to build their own little mini empire or to start a business. You'll see me you'll see me in the entrepreneurial space, like just training people and showing them about how to start a business. And so I'm kind of in that space. I'm tapping into the health niche. You guys know that I've been vegan, vegetarian now for 2.5 years, going on 3. And so I'm creating a market in the healthcare space, and you might see stuff come out about that. You might not. And then I have a project I'm working on in the love space, right? So I'm looking to scale. I'm actually scaling. And so attending these events and these conferences are really helping me to do that. And, but in the process, I could take this information back, bring it back to you guys and share what I learned so that you can scale as well. And we can all like grow together and just have a wonderful life, right? Because that's my ultimate goal and desire in life, is to share exciting things like this with you guys. So I got to go in a second. Now, before I leave, that's my wrap up about Tony Robbins. I want to talk to you really quickly about the 30-day challenge. It starts on Wednesday, the 6th, July 6th. And the 30-day Blitz challenge is going to be freaking awesome. As you can see, we've made a little bit of changes, right, to the 30-day challenge. Okay, so it's on Wednesday, the 5th. We need team captains. We don't have 5 team captains. So we need 5 team captains. And if we don't have 5, then we'll use the team captains that we have. Do not be afraid to be a team captain. This is going to help you become greater at managing a team. Now, listen, I was just on the website of Zapier, or whatever it's called. They're a multi-million-dollar company. They help you automate things. When I went to their About Us page, they have like 30 employees. They said they're all around the world. All of them are virtual. They don't even have a physical office. So someone has to know how to manage a team of 30 people that are in different time zones, different countries, different personalities, different cultures. As your company grows, you have the ability to determine what the setup of your business is going to be. And for many of you, it's going to be virtual. Being a team leader in the 30-day challenge gives you experience on managing and growing your team virtually. I want you guys to take advantage of it. Don't run away from it. This is something that's going to prepare. This is live hands-on training that's going to prepare you for managing a team. Get involved, okay? So we need our team captains. I think we've only had like 5 to 7 people sign up for the 30-day challenge. So you mean to tell me that I say you've got to pay, like everybody pay $15 so that we can chime in the pot and have, and I'm not pulling the prizes just out of my money since this is a free event. We're all doing it collectively. Nobody wants to pay the $15. Come on, guys, get yourself together right now. This training, this 30-day Blitz challenge is not about me. It's about you. It's about training to help you grow your businesses. You spend $15 on freaking coffee in a week. Get the $15, sign up for the 30-day challenge, grow your business. If you're not on this 30-day challenge, something's not right, okay? I'm just telling you, keeping it real. Anything that you can do to help grow your business and to plant those seeds, you should be doing. Get involved. Pay the $15. Get on the list. We start in a couple of days. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Let me just see. We're talking about points, earning points individually and as a team. And we have 11, I think 10. Yes, 11, 10. Same 10 as last time, but I changed them up a little bit. Categories that you can win in. So number of placements, right? The number, I know Chris, high five, signed up. Thank you so much. We have the number of placements. So as a team, it'll be a team winning, but as an individual, whoever has the highest number of placements, you will be the grand prize winner of this month's 30-day Blitz challenge as an individual. So that's what's going to be a little bit different. So whoever scores the most points, who makes the most number of placements, you get the first place winner. Depending on how big the pool is, hopefully we can get you a trophy and a certificate. The second place individual prize winner is whoever got the most number of contracts in your business. Third place individual prize winner, whoever had the most submittals, quality submittals. Okay. Now I say this because, like, I don't want to see, because you're trying to win, you're sending 50 submittals to a client. That is an absolute, like, you're disqualified. Okay. So you should be submitting 3 to 5 quality submittals to each job. No more than that. If you're going over 5 submittals, there is fundamentally an issue with the job order or the communication that you're having between you and the hiring manager. All right. And that's not just for the 30-day Blitz. That's in recruitment and staffing as a whole. So make sure you understand that. So those are our 3 prize winners. And then as a team collectively, we'll be scoring how many people got hiring manager interviews, how many internal candidate interviews were taking place, how many client follow-ups, candidate follow-ups. The follow-ups must be like this, okay? Like no cheating. The follow-ups must be, you picked up the phone and followed up and they responded back, or I can't say they responded. It should be some type of dialogue. So I don't want you to go to an event and say, I followed up with all these people. No, you followed up, an email was sent out, just hitting your rotation. And even if you don't talk to them, that's fine, but it's you literally following up. Okay. So it must be tied to a follow-up action to your rotation schedule. Okay, so pull your rotation schedule out because you'll need it. All right, networking events. How many have you attended? Not how many people did you meet? How many networking events did you attend? So if you attended 5 in a month, you'll have 5 networking events. Number 9, client connections. Now, this means actual dialogue. If you go to, and somebody used this example last time, if you go to a funeral and you pass out 500 cards, that does not count. Okay. The only thing that counts is how many people that you actually put your card in the hand and you had dialogue with. You had dialogue with. Just passing your cards out or putting them on a table is not acceptable. Okay. Even going to, one lady went to one staffingpreneur went to which was brilliant. She went to a breast cancer event and passed all her cards out. That was great, but you only get points for the people that you physically talk to. okay? Because the people that you physically talk to are more likely to actually follow up than the people that just pick up a card and keep moving. Now, if that person that picked up a card and kept moving comes back and calls you, then you can add them to the list. And the same thing with your candidate connections, okay? Bonus points. You have the ability to earn bonus points. You can send out greeting cards, but you can only send out 5 a week. Why? Why do you only get, now you can send out more than that if you want, but you only get points, 5 bonus points a week. And the reason is because if you're sending out 30 greeting cards in a week, aggressively, how are you going to follow up 30 people next week? Are you going to be able to do that? And I want you guys to do this so that you're winning. So I'm going to take baby steps. So if you send out 5 congratulations cards or thank you cards or whatever, that allows you to put them on your rotation schedule for next week and to follow up with them, and you can earn points that way. So you only get credit for 5 cards. Only get credit for 5 cards per week. So you can add an additional 5 bonus points per week sending out greeting cards. Your second bonus points that you can receive for a staffingpreneur can post a point on your behalf based on something that you did for them, or based on your attitude, or based on your interaction. So a staffingpreneur can add a bonus point to you. Lori Jones rocked it out. She gave me a super duper tip. I give her a bonus point. Henry actually did such and such. I'm going to shout out Henry a bonus point. But you can only accumulate 5 bonus points in a week. Okay? So I'm putting some caps on this thing. Okay, points should be posted daily to Facebook and to your Facebook group in the spreadsheet. I don't care if the team leaders have their own spreadsheet. Team leaders, you are responsible for getting the sheets into the points into the main sheet so that everyone can be accounted for. Okay, and you guys do have access to that. And individual staffingpreneurs, you can put your points in as well. Your team captain will reach out to you after you sign up. So be on the lookout for that. Team captains will also keep a tally of their group points. Prizes will be determined based on the staffingpreneur's participation. We'll talk about the prizes at the end of the week once everyone is signed up and we see how many people we're working with. I'm so excited about this, guys. We only have a couple of days. Sign up, sign up, sign up, sign up, sign up. So we can have a lot of fun. And I'm happy. Krista said, can't wait to start this, still in training. I can't wait to start. Christopher said, I signed up yesterday. So I'm really excited. Last thing, and then I got to go get me something to eat before my 2 o'clock. Last thing I want to go over is the sales master class. That's my, like, what do you call it? Muppets. That's my Muppet wave. Okay, so the sales master class is coming up, and it starts on Wednesday, I think, or Thursday of this week. I should know that. And super excited. We have, like, we're going in strong day 1. We are doing our introduction, our mastermind, our mind mapping training is going through, and we're starting with the foundation of our sales based on what we've put together in our playbook. And I can't stop smiling because y'all are gonna be like, yes, 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 yes. You're gonna come out of the sales class and just be like, oh my gosh. So, and then we're gonna do something hopefully in a month or 2 in regards to candidate pipeline. We'll do a master class on that as well. So really excited. If you have not signed up, get signed up now. So once we, start, the doors will be shut because this is going to be a very, 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 very tight training. And some of the dates are going to change around on the week that I'm going to see Tony Robbins. And so I will keep you guys posted. We may push it out a little bit into the month of August because the schedule for that is pretty aggressive. But I will keep you guys posted on that. And you will have a nice homework assignment for that week. But other than that, I'm super excited. And I'll do another video maybe tomorrow or Wednesday, really hyping up the sales mastermind class. But if you have the ability, I want you to sign up for this class it will be beyond worth the investment, because you'll come out you've already come out of the playbook differently. Imagine what you're going to do now when you could take and put that power behind, all the information in your market. You could take that power and put it behind a sales, a sales funnel or a sales push initiative. It's going to take your business to another level. So I absolutely love you guys. I hope you enjoyed the follow-up from the conference. It was super awesome. Gary V, Sarah Blakely, Tony Robbins, absolutely amazing. And I am excited. I look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday. Enjoy your 4th of July weekend. Oh my gosh, fireworks, corn on the cob. People say kebabs, right? It's going to be a lot of fun. Festivals. So enjoy your weekend. Or your week, your day tomorrow. Absolutely love you. And I will see you guys on Wednesday. Right? I love this. All right. Yes. Okay, I missed something. YouTube, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. Hold on, I got to find my my YouTube. Let's see, live. Here I go. And so funny. Let's see. Perfect. All right, guys. Y'all have a great day. Love you. Bye.